you love you seek, make sure to love yourself as well first, because the more you love yourself, the more you can help others as well.
But for a lot of people, they're saying, yeah, you've got the money, then you can, share a little bit, and just it's like, how can I say, so you feel better about yourself. And it's not about that, right? It's about really giving.
Always give without expectation. And if you give to someone that can never repay you, that's really actually giving in the right form. I always say it doesn't matter where you are, who you are, or your financial background. Everything starts in the mind.
Hello, Andres.
Hello, Janari.
Yes, it's so good to see you. And you actually look remarkably well, as always. Very, very fit, very healthy. And I remember our last meeting in Bangkok, I think it was in November.
Correct.
Where you gave your inspiring talk to, I think, about probably 500 people, I think.
Yeah, well, thank you for inviting me also. That was a great 2 days.
I know that you're a very busy person. And I know that you're CEO of, I think, 18 companies. And I know that your flagship is Blue Horizon, which you run for many years and very, very successfully. I know that you are a writer now. I know that you're a speaker. So a lot of things on your plate. So, and finding the time for me, really, I really appreciate that. Let me ask you, I mean, every time when I read about your story, how you became billionaire, really, it makes me absolutely fascinated, because I think that the story is in itself. You don't have to tell anything. You can just do nothing, and only your story will inspire people for the things which you applied to your life and which made your life. So can you briefly tell us, again, I would like to hear it from the source, and my audience would like to hear it from the original source, not from the papers and comments.
Yeah, of course. Well, as you already know, I launched my first book, Homeless to Billionaire, which was more or less a great new turning lesson. I learned a lot about writing as well, writing the book. It took me a whole year to write the book, because it was a lot of memories that you need to go back. And it's autobiography, and it's also a motivational book, because I wanted to write a book where people can understand that it doesn't matter who you are or what country you come from, or if you're what kind of color of your skin you have, or if you have rich parents or poor parents. And I want to reach out to people to make them understand that if I can do it, growing up in a very hard environment in Sweden and moving overseas with totally by myself, became homeless, and started to work my way up in a foreign country that I didn't know the language or didn't know anything about, right? So Dr. Joe Vitale, one of my biggest mentors that I followed for many, many years, he told me to write the principles that I've been studying and the principles that I've been using as a person and CEO and also a family man. And it's 18 principles of life, both in business, both in private life and family life, health, finances. And I've been following these 18 principles for almost 16 years now. And everyone can follow them. It's just a form of habit. You have to change habits if you want to achieve great results in life. And after they become habits, you can start acquiring other habits and mental mindsets. And when you have those things in place, then you will see that the world is there for you to take. You can do anything in your life. We just have to start believing in ourselves and stop unbelieving that you can't do anything in life. And that's what most people, they have that mentality. They think they're not good enough, or they're not intelligent enough, or they don't have the finances enough. It doesn't matter. Everything starts in the mind. And when you learn how to control that, you can control your whole reality.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I hope there'll be a Russian edition. And I will do at most to help you, with that. Because the book are currently sold at on Amazon, I think, right? .com.
Yes, correct. It's on Amazon also. And the publisher is Forbes. And I've been working with them for 12 months now. And let's see where this takes us.
Right, wonderful. Can you tell me, I mean, these 18 principles, and in fact, 18 seems to be a magical figure because you were CEO, you're CEO of 18 companies, and you put 18 principles. So 18 seems has got some meaning to you.
Well, yeah, I guess it is a coincidence because I never put them together. Well, it's I'm running 19 companies now, and there was 18
19,
when
okay. Mhm.
yeah, correct. And then it's 18 principles, and I didn't know it was going to be 18 principles. Joe Vital asked me to write down the most important principles in life that I've been following and studying over the course of 16 years, right? Some of them are very easy to learn. Some of them it takes a while, and some of them takes years. But it's all about a stepping stone. If you want to be good at something, you have to start somewhere.
Isn't there some principles or group of principles which you feel they're more important than others? I mean, or you'd better start with them, your journey to successful living.
Well, what I believe is one of the very most important principle is what I call the law of giving. And it's anything you want in life, make sure you give that to others first. And if you want to have success in life, help others to be successful. If it's money you need, then help other people make money first. So, and if it's happiness you need, make sure you're there and help other people to become happy. If it's love you need, or if it's love you seek, make sure to love yourself as well first, because the more you love yourself, the more you can help others as well. And you have a great energy, vibrational frequencies in your body when you have the expression of love and gratitude and happiness. So and that's how I started my success. Is I started to see clear connections when every time I helped someone else within a few days, like something great happened to me as well. It can come up in a form an email or a phone call, or I bumped into a good customer that invested in our companies, or I saw an old friend that I haven't seen for many years. So you have to learn how to connect the dots. It's the universe that is giving you different signals. Every day you're staying alive. But we have to start to recognize those signals. And when we do that, we start to see what a wonderful world you're actually living in. But most of us, we don't see the signals that are there in front of us. But I always have the attitude of, how can I do more for others? How can I help others? How can I make other people more successful? And that principle, when you work with that kind of mindset, great news always comes to you in some kind of way, in some form.
It's interesting that a lot of people, Joe Vitale, and I spoke to Marsha Wader and Lisa Watson, and so everybody is saying the same thing. But for a lot of people, they're saying, "Ah, yeah, you've got the money, then you can, share a little bit, and just it's like, how can I say? So you feel better about yourself, and it's not about that, right? It's about really giving."
Correct. And it's very important to feel grateful when you do that, because a lot of people get it wrong. They think, okay, I'm going to start to give to others because I'm expecting something back. It doesn't work that way. It's very dangerous to do something to expect something back. It's not your job to seek that. Is the job of the universe, right? So always give without expectation. And if you give to someone that can never repay you, that's really actually giving in the right form. And you can start with nothing. When I didn't have anything, I still had $1 over or $2 that I can go and give a homeless man or a meal, or just help someone to move even when you didn't want to, or it's easier to say no. It's this small signals when people ask for your help, be there and do it, even if it feels a bit hard. It's a great feeling after you've done something without even expecting something back, So it's an important principle to have that kind of mindset. What can I do for others?
And it gives really a lot of satisfaction to yourself. I mean, so you're doing it for yourself very often when you give. Of course, there are a lot of people who are trying to abuse it. There are so many scams and so many, false pledges and all this stuff, and it's annoying probably. But there is nothing I think we can do. Just maybe to use common sense and gut feeling.
Exactly. So it's a lot of, yeah, like I've seen a lot of people trying out these principles, but they're helping someone else or doing something for others, and then next day they sit and expecting something great to come their way from that person. It doesn't mean that something great is coming your way of the people you help. It can be from some other person. It can be from from any other in any other way that the universe talks to you. You just have to be open to receive. That's all.
Yes, and I know that you do during this coronavirus time. You do a lot of charity. I've read articles about you giving food to people. And Thailand is a wonderful place, but the polarity and the difference in income is very, very high. So there are a lot of people in need. And what you do is really kind of impressive. And it's impressive is not the right word. It's a heartwarming.
Thank you. No, I'm happy. I'm very grateful that I have a family that has the same mindset. And when we know a lot of people had lost their jobs in Thailand, also there is the unemployment rate, especially where we live now in Phuket. It's a tourist island. It's the only income we have is from tourists. And of course, the airports are shut down. There are no tourists there, so a lot of people are struggling here at the moment. And we love waking up and make food for a few weeks ago, we made food for 200 people, and we went down to the local community and delivered it. And it was a long queue of more than 200 people waiting for the food and stuff. But it's a great feeling to see that at least you can do something. Unfortunately, we cannot help every single person in the world, but even if you help one, it's more than nothing, and it's still much rewarding as a feeling at being grateful that you actually are in a position that you can do that.
Right. And I remember that people were kind to you when you started that. And I remember this story when you asked for money for a coffee and you got a book, which was a gift as well. So, and the book started your journey to, to what you are now.
Exactly. And it's the same. Many people always ask us, how do you become successful and what changed in your life? And I always say it doesn't matter where you are, who you are, or your financial background. Everything starts in the mind. When you have zero and you change your mindset to abundance instead of lacking of things, then already there is the big transformation that needs to take place. And start to believe that you are on the way to be wealthy. Even if you're not, just know that you're going to be and work for it. And sometimes you don't need to know how it's going to happen. You just have to believe that it will happen in some way and work towards it. But also, many people take that wrong and they don't take massive action. Massive action is very important in any growth in your life. And like I said, if you're seeking for a job, don't just sit home and wait for someone to come and knock on your door and give you what you're asking for. You still need to take massive action. That's the missing key that many people miss. And you have to go out, you have to be proactive, go and talk to different companies, send your resume to the person, do your phone calls, check the newspapers, what jobs available. That's what I mean, taking action. Always take a step forward or whatever you want. And that's where transformation happens. But you can't just sit on your couch and waiting for a great opportunity to arise on your doorstep or a phone call. Your action is critical every single time.
Jack Canfield said that law of attraction has got action in this word, law of attraction, action. So he was very much in favor of really massive action. Yes. I know that you are very much in favor of visualization. And I know on numerous occasions, do you do still that in your daily routine? Do you do? I think it's called creative visualization. Can you tell us more about that?
Correct. Of course I do. That's one of the key stepping stones that took me from nothing to something different that I am today, right? And visualizations is so important as well, because nothing can ever happen if it doesn't happen in the mind at first. The mind, it's a supercomputer. It's an energy field, and when you program it with images and pictures of the things you want, that's the universe who comes knocking on your door and starts to give you those moments or those emails or phone calls, or you bump into a person that has that knowledge or offer that you're seeking for. So visualization, I do it, of course, every single week, and you have to visualize with intense, vivid pictures, and of course, emotions. When you blend in emotions with the pictures in your mind, that's what the transformation is, and that's how you materialize things. A lot of people think, well, I'm just going to sit here and think about something of what I want, but you need to involve all your senses. So when you visualize something, then how does it smell? How does it feel like? What colors are it? What color is it? Um, wh- how uh, how is it built? If it's a house you want, for instance, how many floors should the house be? How many bedrooms is the house? What color of the kitchen is it? So the more details you put into visualization, built in with emotions of gratitude and happiness, that's where energy blends in and becomes material.
Yes, and somehow there is some scientific explanation of that. Even people or scientists are talking about this reticular activation system, RAS, which guides you. And once you know what you want and have a clear vision and involve emotions, then other kind of disruptions, all these noises and other bits of information which are not relevant to your focus, then you just don't hear. It's like walking the same airport. You can hear only announcement of your flight. You ignore completely, and you don't hear about other flights numbers. So something like that. It's really yeah.
Absolutely. And then it's also training with visualizations. I mean, the first time I started with visualization, I didn't know does it work? Does it really work or it doesn't work? I'll give it a shot and see what it is. And I started to visualize very small things. I didn't start to visualize that house or that car or the $1,000,000. I started with small things: a cup of coffee, a lunch, another $100 a week. You start small, and when you visualize, of course, it's hard to visualize vivid, great pictures in your mind because you're always interrupted by all the other things that are coming your way, and we have so many thoughts all the time, and it's hard. It's like a cluster in our mind, and we need to learn how to separate them. And I started visualizing 1 minute, and then I got distorted. I couldn't do it anymore because it's hard to just keep on focus on just one single thing in your mind. And that minute became 2 minutes after a month. And then after a few weeks after it, I could sit there for 5 minutes. And then I could visualize for 10 minutes. And now I can sit 45 minutes meditating and visualizing, but it feels like 5 minutes when I open my eyes. So it's also training, but start with more 1 minute. That's better than nothing. And it's still training. An Olympian who wins an Olympian gold medal, how do they do that? Because they've been training every single day for their last 10 or 15 years. That's why they're the champions. It's the same with your mind. It's the same with your mindset. Start small, but work your way up, and you will see the great feeling and transformation and happiness that you're starting to feel. Because when you visualize in the right way, it feels that you already have it. And when you feel that you already have it, that's an amazing, great feeling inside you. And that's where you raise your vibrations, more or less, when you do that.
I know that you're Swedish origin. I mean, you have South American blood as well as Swedish, so you're half-half. And regarding to this visualization and meditation, did local culture, Thai culture, Asian culture, affected you? Did you take something from that, or everything you took from? Because all this, religion itself. I mean, they presume meditation. They're talking about being focused and being quiet. Listening to the silence, seeing the stone grow. This type of thing. Have you acquired from after living 16 years in Thailand? Have you acquired
Yes.
all this their ways of being focused?
Mm. It's a major difference moving from Europe or Scandinavia to Thailand in Southeast Asia. I mean, the culture is different, the people are different, their mindset are different, and but it's been good to me also because I had to learn, I had to adapt, I had to understand the culture, I had to understand the people, business, and mindset over here. And when you understand that, then then it's, of course, that's the first way of learning of how to adapt yourself. And when you understand other people's culture and when you understand other people's mindset and how they think about things, it's completely different from what we think. I would say in Scandinavia or Europe as well. But when you understand their way of being, then it's easier to employ people and make them understand you, and you understand them, of course. But I learned in this country to have a lot of patience.
A lot
That
of
has
patience.
been critical here, because when you want things done, sometimes it can take much longer than you want it to take. And patience is something that you learn how to live here. and never lose your mind, never lose your control, or let anger or irritation come in your way, because that only affects yourself in the end.
It's interesting. When I was in Thailand, you very rarely see people really shouting at each other. Even sometimes they drive in a funny way, but everybody is like, okay, well, it's like in Arabic countries. It's okay. And if somebody is running fast, then he needs to go fast. So let him go. There is no competition, which I would get in, let's say, in England or in Scandinavian countries. If somebody, takes you over, then you feel like you're macho. You have to show him that your engine is stronger.
That's true. And also here, I love their philosophy and mindset that if you show anger, you lose your face, and you should never show anger towards others. And I love that in Thailand, because you don't have people honking the horn on the car if they want to pass you through, or scream at you if you make a wrong turn. People let it be, and they continue with their life, and they don't get affected or angry by small things like that. And of course, I love that. Sometimes I get a shock when I go to other countries. I rent a car and I have people honking and screaming and showing your finger and stuff like that. It's unfortunately the tolerance level is very low in some others. And in the end, it's their day that gets destroyed. They get irritated and angry, and then they carry on like that for the rest of the day. And then we get other things to get more irritated about during the day. So it's important to not lose that temper in any situation, because you only attract more of that.
I've read somewhere that the measurement of your personality is the level when you lose control, sort of. If you are snappy at waiter who made a small mistake, then you are small yourself. And if you know what I mean, and I think it's very true.
Like a very famous writer once said, it's not what happens in your life, it's how you react to it. And I've been following that as well for the last 16 years. It's been a great learning, and it's helped me a lot to develop myself as a human being. It's still a choice. You can choose to be angry, or you can choose to not to be angry. You can choose to be happy, and not everything starts inside. It's still a choice. So when you get angry on someone, or you snap at someone, or you scream at someone, you still made a choice. You made a choice inside yourself to be angry about the situation, or be angry on that person, right? So in the end, it's choices we make. And when we start to think that way, we actually become much calmer. Okay, then now I have a person who can make me really angry, or he has bad news for me, or he's telling me something personal, then it's still a choice. Should I get affected by it? Should I choose to be angry and scream back, or should I just choose to not get affected and walk away? I mean, then that person is the one who gets a bad day rest of the day. You can carry on and still have a great feeling inside of you. So always be present of how does this thing makes me feel? How does this person make me feel? And then it's up to you to decide what kind of emotions you want to put into that.
But of course, everything requires training. It's like building muscles. It requires, because it's easy to talk about being happy and choosing happiness when you're happy already, but you're down if you feel that everything is really falling apart, and then to have this courage and wisdom to choose being happy and being
Correct. And like you said, a lot of people will think that how can I just feel happy because I don't have what I need, or I'm not getting anywhere in life, or I'm stuck somewhere. But I have clearly understood that there is always something to be grateful about. Even doesn't matter who you are, in what country. So be grateful sometimes that you have a roof over your head, or you can eat a meal a day, or you have friends or family that love you, or you have a pet that loves you. There is always something in your life that you can be grateful about. So when you are in those moments that you're feeling, okay, I'm on the way to lose control, I'm getting angry, I'm not getting somewhere, think about those things that you already have. Be grateful for something that you already have, and that's just that kind of mindset actually that changes your mentality completely. So I would say to all the people, write down all the things that you're grateful for. It can be small things, even that you have clothes to wear, even that you have water to drink. I mean, look at other people in the world that have it so much worse. So there is always something to be grateful about.
Yes, I've read somewhere that, or I've heard somewhere, I think Sadhguru said that about 1 million people do not wake up every morning. They do not see the light. And if you wake up and you're okay, you're healthy, that's bingo. I mean, you already, have to be grateful for that. But may I ask, I mean, I want to talk about a little bit of business principles, and because you are such a successful businessman, you're really made an empire, and Blue Horizon, if, I think it's the biggest contractor in the area. I mean, you're working with uh, Best Western, yes, and Ramada Plaza, and so you're building and building and building very good quality stuff. But all these principles which we're mentioning, are they applicable to business, right? There are no exception. So the same thing in a business relationship, in building up your empire, you were doing the same human principles which you are doing in your ordinary life, like not related to business. Is it
Correct,
correct?
but it's all, yes, but it's a balance, and I call it the wheel of life. Because one part of the wheel is financials, another part of the wheel is health, another part of the wheel is family and friends, and another part of the wheel is also business, right? And goals that you have. So you have to have a balance between them all. You cannot be happy and run a successful company if you don't take care of your body as well, and you're not a healthy person, and make your body stronger, right? And you cannot be happy and successful even if you have hundreds of millions of dollars, or you're a rich person but you don't have any friends and family around, or share the wealth with, or share moments with. I mean, that's not happiness either. So we need a balance of all these things to actually, that's what I call wealth. Wealth is not only
Sound, lost your sound. Yes, now. So you
okay.
said wealth,
Sorry.
sorry for, but it's like at your end, I think. So you said wealth is not always.
Wealth is absolutely not only money, and that's where also many people and friends and family that I've been talking to, that's what they thought happiness was, if you have a lot of money. But I work with a lot of big investors around the world, and they have so much money that they don't know what to do about it. But when I talk with some of them, they're actually not happy. They are depressed because they're so afraid to get friends or family around them, because they believe that they only want everything. They're so afraid of losing their money, so they become lonely and depressed instead. So that's also things that people need to understand. You need a balance in your life with health, family, friends, business, or hobbies, and these things as well. So when you manage to hold this balance, that's what I call wealth. It's not financial, and it's not only about money. No.
Yes. Well, that's what I called my series of interviews, which I intend to have like 50 during a year. So not living for success, but successful living. So you're really living successfully because you have all these components which make, the wheel. There could be 6, 7, whatever is important to you, and then you're around it. And money, okay, it's just one of the issue. And if you lose it, but you have friends, you have kids, you have family, you have your health. I mean, everything can be rebuilt. Everything can be restored. And that's, I think,
Exactly.
message which a lot of people miss, especially in the goal setting, with the setting goals, but you're shortening your life very much if you focus just on that goal, just on that, and ignoring other aspects of life which you mentioned.
Absolutely, and that's thank you for reminding me also that that's one of the very most important factors in life is growth. If you don't feel that you're growing, that you don't feel you're learning something new, or you're feeling that you're stuck in the same place, that's also dangerous, and it's depressive, and people can become very sad and depressive when they sit in the same corner and they never move and they never grow, right? But that's also, people are so afraid to step out of their comfort zone because they're afraid to step up on the unknown. But that's the only way to learn new things, and that's the only way to grow, is just try things you never done before, learn a new hobby, or start to learn about wealth and financial, reads, study success, or anything that takes you out of your comfort zone is when you learn something, right? But if you're in the same corner and you never step out of it, you're just repeating the things that you already know.
Mm. And everything seems to be so simple, yes, and at the same time so few people who do that. And more, of course, people realize that, but still it's not enough. I mean, a lot of people are struggling, depressed, unhappy, angry, with all sort of things. And then life is just once we live, right? We live just small period of time, and to screw it up by being angry and bad person is just a shame. I think I don't believe much in religion, but I do believe that it's God's given something. I mean, you were blessed to stay, and interesting enough that when we live and interact with each other, so there must be a purpose. So all of these interactions happen during your lifetime. So it means that people around, they have the same lifespan as you are. So it's like you have to be good to them in order to make your life better. So it's kind of, this seems to be like very simple, trivial thing, but not, unfortunately. Look at the world and you feel like, oh gosh, so many, crimes and terrible things happening, and domestic violence now on the rise because of quarantine, and I feel such a silly thing, really kind of. It's upsetting. May I ask you another question, which is like related to the current situation? Whether this, I know that you had very strict quarantine in Thailand, and I know that your authorities were really, really strict in keeping people indoors. And a lot of us, including myself, revalued a lot of things. Revalued in terms of how much do I need to be happy? How much, whether I need these designer clothes, or not. It's like whether I should be unhappy if somebody scratches my car, this type of thing. And I think we became deeper, at least I feel. What about you? Did you have this changing in value system, maybe a little bit fine-tuning to what you already kind of have during this quarantine period?
Honestly, the quarantine period for us here, it's been very strict. We have to be, they closed down the airport, they closed down all our beaches. We're not allowed to go to any beaches. We can only go out during the day to buy the groceries we need. We cannot gather with other groups and more than your family members. So yes, we've been quarantined, but we had such an amazing time together because I spent so much time with my kids. I spent so much time with my girlfriend as well, and my 3 dogs that I have, and I never spent so much time with them, and it's actually been great. Anyway, being able, I'm very grateful to be able to have this time with them. I really am. I get to actually know them a lot better because we're spending time 24/7. Yes, of course, sometimes we get irritated on each other, and sometimes you need your privacy a few hours by yourself, and that's something we learn with. But it's been great, and I've been learning new things. I've been reading other books. I've been seeing different documentaries that I wanted to see for a long time. So I've been and I've been training out in the house as well, doing with some weightlifting and training my body. And for us, it's been great. It's about how you do it as well. But if you just stay in your bed the whole day, of course, that can be depressing. But you can always learn something or take up a skill or a goal that you haven't pursued yet, study that. So I'm very grateful being able to have this time with my family and my dogs.
And I think that when we move back to the reality and things will start, running as they were, I think we still should keep this feeling of gratitude and feeling of that we should stay more with the people we love, and then kind of think more about our emotional well-being, not necessarily business and etc. So I personally realize that really that it's there are a few things which we need. As you said, we need the roof, we need fresh food, water, and relationship, and that's basically, and we can be happy having as little as even possible. So without even traveling, for example, I like traveling very much, but now I realize that there are so many things to see where I am now, in the local surroundings and beautiful mountains, and it's in nature and gardening. Oh man, I started gardening, and it's like I've never done it before, and I'm enjoying it, and I really feel calm when I even talk to flowers. I'm getting like maybe a little bit kinky in the head, but I'm talking to flowers, and it's and I think if we survive, and hopefully we will, and I regret the loss of life which people lost, but overall I think really it's a message which universe sends to us, saying, hey guys, stop doing what you're doing to your planet, stop doing what you're doing to yourself, and then just kind of slow down and think. And I think this was a period for which hopefully people use productively.
No, you're absolutely right. It's a massive wake-up call for humanity. It's a massive wake-up call for the whole world that we are not living the right way. I really believe that we are destructible beings at the moment in the world. We're killing almost everything that ever gives joy and happiness and beautiful sceneries. We're cutting down so much green, so much forest around the world. We are killing so many animals around the world, and so many species are getting extinct because of it. We're polluting our oceans. So, and this, I really hope this is a massive wake-up call for us all. That hey, think a little bit. You're actually destroying yourself. You're destroying everything that is beautiful here in the world. It's a paradise out there. It's when you travel and you see, you understand that we are just visitors here. We should follow the natural laws, and we should not be that destructive as we are.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Well, on this, I hope the mankind and the world change. But I think the biggest change is within. So if each of us would become better, with the clear thinking, really what's important, and then caring for environment, etc., I think the world will become overly much better place to be in and to live. Anything else you'd like to talk to? Because it's mostly aimed at. I'll have two channels. One is English speaking, and another will be for Russian speaking audience. So your interview will be translated as well. Anything like the final couple of words you would like to say to my viewers?
Well, like I said, nothing can ever happen if it doesn't happen in your mind at first. So please, start writing goals. If anyone sees this interview as well, goals are one is the first fundamental steps to any change, to any transformation. Is to write goals down. They don't need to be massive. They can be small things. They can be I'm gonna read this book before this month is finished, or I'm gonna buy that new jacket, or I'm gonna buy that new DVD player, or I want that new pair of shoes. Even small goals. I write 101 goals every year, and people get shocked. How can you write so many goals a year? When I show them the list, I would say 70% of the list are small goals. I mean, I have it in my bedroom, but one of them is to visit the new shopping mall when it's open. So that's just a small goal. But when you cross out those small goals, it feels like you're moving forward. And it's so important because the feeling of moving forward opens up for the bigger goals to achieve and to attract, right? So start with small goals. And when you cross those small goals over, that feeling is just amazing, even if it's small goals, because you see your list is getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And then the bigger goals, it feels more achievable that you actually can pursue them. But if you only have the big goals in your goal setting list, then sometimes your mind says, well, I don't think you can do it. Right. I think that's too difficult. And what happens? Of course, it's going to be difficult. And of course, you're going to not pursue them as actively and have that mindset of and motivation because they seem too far away. So small goals are the key to getting the bigger goals. Yeah. And I would love that's what I show a lot in my seminars. I make the audience write down those goals, small and big, and I show them how to pursue them and how to actually be engaged in them and what kind of mindset and what attitude you need to have to be able to write those goals. I mean, when I started, I had a goal list of 10 goals a year. And now I have 101, but it's the small goals. You will see that they also give you happiness, even getting the same as getting the big goals. So I love this kind of exercises with my audience and in the seminars when I actually take them step by step on goal setting. And it's amazing. Even the following day, many people in the audience from seminars I've been to, they actually already done 2 or 3 for the next day during the seminar because they be small goals and they come with a great new attitude.
Yes. Well, I hope you'll be able to share this wisdom with the Russian-speaking audience one day. I really hope that you will come over, and I would be happy to facilitate that. And you talk to the Russian-speaking audience and share your life and your wisdom to us. Well, thank you very much. I like this Thai thing. So thank you so much for being today, and all the very best to you. When your quarantine is getting to be over, is it coming now already, or it's still?
Yeah, they lifted the restrictions now. All the beaches are still closed. Our airport is still closed, but we can move between different districts now, and we are more movable. We can go out to other parts of the island. Before, we were only allowed, and they blocked all the other roads to every sub-district. So you were only allowed to be in your own district, which is very small. It's a community. But at least we can move all over the island now. That's at least a good way of feeling a bit more free now. And the airport is still going to be closed for another 1.5 months. So, and then hopefully all the tourists will start to come back as well.
Yeah. Yes, it's a really wonderful place where you live now, and hopefully everything will become back to new normal. New normal. Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Andres. Really, thank you very much.
Thank you too, Dr. Kennedy. Pleasure to speak to you, and hopefully I'll see you in Russia soon.
Yeah, I hope so. Bye-bye.
Bye.